Okay, we're live.
Hello, everybody. I am Heather Hyman, and we are so excited to have you here with us today. If you can hear my voice, what I would love for you to do is right there on the page, if you would just say, yes, I see you, yes, I hear you, and just kind of give us some feedback, and we will look there real quickly just to make sure that everybody can hear us okay. Just to get some of these little technical difficulties out of the way. But I'm really excited to have everyone here today on our Google Hangout. I'm really excited to dive right in. And as you guys know, I am Heather Hyman with Sweet Tea Social Marketing, and Steph Nissen with Nissen Media is going to be here, and we do a lot of these Google Hangouts together ever since we met last year at a social media conference with Kim Garst. And just really, it's been exciting to take on different topics. But today what we're going to do is take on a topic that is relevant to maybe small business owners, maybe social media managers, consultants, coaches, people in marketing, and just see how you can use this information. And Steph has had some insight, so I'm going to kind of interview her, put her in the hot seat. So hello, Stephanie.
Hi, Heather. Thank you for that. Oh, on the hot seat. So now I'm nervous. I wasn't before, but thanks.
Oh, no. No need to be nervous. So we're going to just kind of like dive right in here real quick and just get right into the meat of kind of focusing on what we're going to be talking about, and basically how for people that may be interested, learning how to score guest blog posting opportunities. But before we do that, we're going to just tell you a little bit more about us. Like I said, I am Heather Hyman. If you look at my name there, it may not in any way sound as if it would be pronounced Hyman, but it is. And I am the owner of Sweet Tea Social Marketing. I basically coach people who need help with actually learning to do social media themselves, because maybe either their budgets are tight or they want to just dive right in hands first and just do it themselves. But I also do speaking and coaching and training and just helping businesses all across the United States just really be able to maximize and leverage social media for their business. I'm located in Blythewood, South Carolina, just on the outskirts of the capital city, Columbia. And today, I think we're going to get up to about 90 degrees. So I'm sitting here in flip-flops, looking at the beautiful green trees outside. So I hope you are having great weather where you are watching this hangout. So a little bit real quick here about our guest that I'm going to be interviewing today. Steph Nissen is a social media manager, marketing coach, consultant, speaker, and blogger. And I just accidentally, I thought I like closed the browser with all your information. Sorry about that. Anyway, she's all those things, but she also owns her own company, Nissen Media, and she's just on the outskirts of the St. Louis, Missouri area, and she really is here to just help small and local businesses just get them online if they're not already there, and just really just leverage the power of social media and helping those businesses grow. So thank you, Steph, for letting us just to kind of put you here on this hot seat and to be able to ask you questions and kind of pick your brain, so to say, as people like to say. And then we're going to have an opportunity for a little bit of Q&A here at the end. So I would highly encourage anyone who would like to ask Steph some questions. If you may have a specific scenario, we'll be more than happy to try to address those questions. So are you ready, Steph?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's dive right in.
Okay, very cool. Also want to real quick, if anybody wants to throw out any social media love while we are on this hangout, that's awesome. Both Steph as well as myself will most likely give you some retweets on Twitter. So what we would love for you to do is use the hashtag Steph Nissen, and I or myself or Stephanie will actually put that right there on the actual page of the Google Hangout to make sure you can spell Steph and Nissen all together correctly. And we'll be paying attention on Twitter throughout this call. So if we either say something that is like an aha moment for you, or it's even a question that you want to ask us on Twitter, you can do so there, and we'll be on the lookout for those throughout this Hangout. So let's just dive right into this concept of just talking about why someone might even want to do guest blog posting, and just really come to you and say, Steph, why might someone want to even do guest blog posting, and ultimately, like, how is it, beneficial?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So why do we want to guest blog? Guest blogging helps us accomplish kind of one of two different things, or both if we're really lucky. That is that we want to build backlinks. That's the huge thing, especially for a local business. We're trying to get more backlinks to our website, to get more eyeballs there, to drive more traffic, to increase our brand awareness, all of those things. And that's what guest blogging helps us do when we blog for a reputable source, for a great source. It's not just spam links and commenting on somebody's blog to try to get traffic over. This is a quality backlink that you can create when you guest blog. The other big piece about guest blogging, and the reason that I really jumped on that opportunity, was to build your expertise, to really showcase what I know in the social media space, and getting in front of my audience. So I use guest blogging to write about what I know and what I love. And then I help that other business that I'm going to guest blog for, because now they have this fresh original content on their blog, and they're going to use social media, of course, to help get the word out, which then of course helps me too, because that also will increase my reach and mentions on social, as well as build my expertise, build my credibility, and excuse me, help me reach new people, which is the best thing. I love when I get a tweet back from somebody like, I just read your blog post over at AgoraPulse or at Social Quant, and it was perfect. I really needed that. It's like you were reading my mind. So for me, that little love is fantastic, and that's why I guest blog a lot of times, building backlinks, building my expertise and my credibility within my industry.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there and just kind of like dive just a little bit deeper into some of the answers that you gave. So for someone who is not necessarily sure what you mean when you say a backlink, just kind of explain that.
Okay, so a backlink means it's another website, not your own, that refers back to you. You have your link. So when I write a guest blog post, if I can, I may provide a link inside that post, that a keyword or phrase that I then hyperlink, which makes it clickable, so that it goes out to my website if it applies, and if that's of course allowed by the place that I'm guest blogging. Not all of them allow you to link out within the post itself. But what they'll always let you do is in your bio at the bottom of the post, you're going to get your fancy little headshot. You're going to get a little bio, a little bit about you, so people can know you a little bit better. And there's where you're going to have a link out from that credible source, that website that now sends traffic to you, to your blog, to your website, wherever you want them to go.
Okay. Now, I have heard lately some different insight on, if, let's say you're doing a blog post for another business and they do allow backlinks. There's some conversation that I have heard virtually on the text that's actually in the backlink and what, if it matters, and like what it's actually saying. Have you heard anything like about that?
Yes, so it absolutely matters what the text is in that hyperlink. You don't ever want to say click here and then hyperlink maybe click here to go to my website, because what we see then, what that keyword is click here, which doesn't do anything for you. So you want to use things like social media marketing services, if I was going to link out to my website, or a social media manager in Missouri, or whatever keyword I want to be found for. So if you're in business, you know what your keywords are, or you should know what your keywords are, that what are people searching for to find you? What solutions do you provide to the problems that they have? what problems are they searching for? So you would use those as your keywords, as a long tail keyword is what it's called, to link back to your site.
Okay, very good. Well, I hope that kind of helps some people, especially, the concept of doing guest blogging can maybe be intimidating for some people. So I just wanted to make sure that we didn't just gloss over that. So I hope that helps some folks. So here's my next question I have for you. Steph, what are some best practices for actually trying to land a guest blog post? Like get that first guest blog post, or maybe it's going to be your 10th one, but maybe things that you've actually seen, tried that don't work. Just kind of give us some of your insight.
Right. So how do we get a guest blog spot? So that's the question. And really the best thing, the number one thing on my list when you do that is you need to have your own blog first. You need to have your own content, your own articles, blog posts, publications that you can showcase your work. Because even when you get down the road and you're ready to apply for a spot, you're ready to ask for a spot from another blog or brand, they're going to want to see examples of your work. They want to make sure that what you're going to write is going to be quality, that you write well, you speak well, essentially, online. So you need to have your own source of information. The next piece of that is then to find those spots and actually get where you want to be as far as what blogs you want to guest blog on. You have to make yourself a list. Where do you want to guest blog? Like on my wish list, essentially, is like I would love to write for Social Media Examiner. Right. And I'd love to down the road, be up there and contributing to Huffington Post and all those things. But I'm not there yet, so I'm starting small. So I'm making a list of other, places that I could guest blog. And I'm going to, once I kind of created my list of places that I would like to, or people that I know I would like, I'm also going to then look for who's accepting. Because just because I want to write there doesn't mean that they want me or they want anybody for that matter. So we're going to use, like for me, I have only used social media to find my guest blog spots. So I use primarily Twitter. That's my biggest one to find spots. And then once you have found those spots, which we'll go into in just a minute, how you actually find them using social, you need to research them specifically. Because just because they're accepting guest blog spot doesn't mean that you're a good fit. So is their audience your audience? Is it a lookalike audience? Is it, do they have an active social media presence themselves that when you do write for them, it's just not going to hang out there, but they're actually going to push your content out as well. If it's not being promoted from their end, it doesn't really do a whole lot for you as far as that, the give and take of I provided you great content and you're going to help me put my message out and get me in front of your audience. So and then we need to research, of course, their guidelines. What are their rules? What are, if they have a form you need to fill out or an email you need to send, or they have, your blog post needs to be this length, on these topics. Find out what their rules are, because that's the easiest way to lose a spot is if you see that they're accepting and you just send them an email with, here's my stuff, I'd love to put it up, but they actually have a process and they have rules and little things that they want you to do. And sometimes they can be silly things like you need to write a particular subject line in that email. And then if you don't do it, they see it as you can't follow simple instructions. So why would I have you guest blog for me? And they do it almost as a test and a way to filter people out. So definitely do your homework. Find out what they want from you. So those are some big best practices. Finding that audience, like I mentioned, who are you trying to reach? If this is maybe they have tons and tons of traffic, but it's maybe in, they're blogging about, social media for startups, but that's not your audience. Just because they have a great big audience, that you would love to get all those hits and that those eyeballs on your brand, that doesn't really do anything if you're not really trying to get in front of startups. So think about, if it matches with what you're trying to do. What are you trying to accomplish? Don't just say yes to everybody, because then you're doing a whole lot of work for nothing in return.
Right. Okay, well, kind of your answer in there leads us to just diving a little bit deeper. So how do you find those brands or the businesses that are taking guest bloggers? I know you mentioned Twitter, and so I'm thinking you might give us a little bit more information like on that specific process.
Absolutely. So when I decided I was going to start guest blogging, the first thing I did is I went to Twitter. And I use the search feature in Twitter, which is fantastic. And just search for key phrases like need guest blogger or contributor needed, accepting guest posts. I looked for all of those key phrases and then started tweeting back to their tweets and saying, hey, I'm interested, or send me the link to, check out, your rules, your guidelines to apply. So the biggest one is, especially if someone already has a blog, they're using Twitter to get their blog out to the masses. So that's where they're going to also look for more people to bring in and to bring in more content. So Twitter's search is very, very powerful. So then what I would do is once I search those places and I find, some prospects, essentially, I put them on a list immediately. So, and I follow them, and then I add them to a list of, guest blogging prospects or guest blog spots, whatever it is. And that way I can stay connected with them, and you almost kind of woo them a little bit online, so that you get in front of them, and then they want you to write for them. I did this. This is how I got my very first spot. I wrote with OnlineSuperNinja, and I wrote about how to post photos that skyrocket engagement on Instagram. I found him because Alan, who's the owner there at OnlineSuperNinja, he tweeted, I need guest bloggers. So I tweeted back and said, I'd love to. What do you need? And from there, and it was so much fun. You can use other tools like Google will work as well, just using searches and trying to find, those guest blog spots, but you are going to be completely bogged down by all these results, and you're going to get people who are teaching you how, and, may not find exactly what you're looking for. So with Twitter, I found it is so much easier to really narrow it down. The other way that I've done finding guest blog spots with social media is going back to the very beginning, that kind of best practices about having your own blog first. I repurposed my own content. So I had written a post about misconceptions about Twitter, and I'd been on my own blog for quite a while. And then with LinkedIn's Pulse, their own publishing platform now, you can repurpose your blogs and repost them. So I did just that. I used the same blog post I'd already written and put it on LinkedIn. And the great thing about when you post to LinkedIn, all of your connections get a notification that you've published a new post. So it caught the attention of Mike Kula, who is the CEO at Social Quant. And he saw that post and he really liked it enough to share it then on Twitter. So he shared the LinkedIn post of content I'd written months ago that he'd just never seen, and using social media, LinkedIn specifically, to get it in front of more people. He then tweeted it out on his own platform and then his company's platform on Social Quant. And, I sent him a quick thank you tweet. I was like, hey, thanks so much for sharing that. And he's like, absolutely, it was a great post. Do you want to write for us? I used my own content, just repurposing it and putting it out on a different platform, and, just sending that quick thank you tweet on Twitter. So 2 platforms to make it happen. And now I'm happily writing for Social Quant. So definitely repurpose your own content for LinkedIn. Get it in front of connections you've had. I've had Mike on my connections list for, maybe 7-8 months. And we hadn't talked too often, a couple times, but all it took was that blog post on LinkedIn to now we've created a partnership, which is fantastic.
That's great. Now that makes me think of this. For someone who may be really new with just even the notion or just considering diving into doing guest blog posting, and this may just seem like second nature, but I want to make sure that we clarify, you were using the language of repurposing your content, which is not the same thing as saying, oh, here's a blog post I did 2 months ago. I'm going to click copy, and I'm going to paste, and I'm going to send this to this other company and have them post that exact same content on their website. Can you please speak to that?
Right, absolutely. So when you're guest blogging, your content, unless it's, okay with that spot, which is almost never, always has to be original. So you may have already written a post about, those 5 misconceptions about Twitter, and then maybe they want you to write another one that's just like that. But you can't use that same one. You can't copy and paste it over. We don't want that duplicate content running around the internet. So what we do, we don't want to penalize them, by doing that duplicate content. We need to write fresh content, rewrite it. Add in new information that you didn't have when you wrote it, 6 months, a year ago, whatever it was. It always needs to be original. When I repurpose that content on LinkedIn, that is something, though, that I did. Absolutely. I copied it and pasted it. Copied it from my blog and pasted it into LinkedIn. And that was something I wasn't really sure about, like if that was okay to do it. But I went to the social media marketing world in March in San Diego, which was fantastic. If you were there, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. And I went to a LinkedIn session with Stephanie Sammons, and I asked her that specific question. Can I duplicate my own content from my blog to LinkedIn? And she said 100% absolutely. So with her blessing, I did it. And I'm very glad I did because, of course, got that guest blog spot at Social Quant.
Okay, very cool. Thank you so much for clarifying that. And then I just want to go ahead and ask you now, we're getting some questions in, and so rather than save it all for the end, I'm just going to dive right in and ask you this question. This comes from Dorian in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Hey, Dorian. She and I have connected a little bit on Facebook, and so she has a question for you, and she says, Steph, how many guest blog posts do you write per month? And you say?
And I say, hi, Dorian. I met her at Social Media Marketing World, actually, so it's very nice to have you on here. I think right now I'm at about 4 posts every month that on a regular basis, a reoccurring contributor for guest blog posts. But I'm always looking for more. So if I can find more, and I have a couple of opportunities that if I want to write more, I can. So I just have to tell, I just send them more and like, here you go. Here's even more content you didn't even ask for. So right now I do 4 every single month because I also want to make sure that I can keep up with my own blog and, my own clients. I don't want to overload myself.
Okay, very good. Very good question and answer. So thank you so much, Dorian. So let me ask you this. What do you wish someone had told you, Steph, before you did your first blog post that you know now? And so in short, we're trying to save anyone watching this now or future on YouTube that's interested in doing guest blog posting and just to maybe learn from some of the tough dirt that you've gotten on your knees by just kind of doing it down and dirty, doing it the hard way.
It's great. So my first experience with blogging was it was a couple of years ago when I got started in the social media space altogether, and I was an intern for a company in Chicago. And as soon as I walked in, they handed me the login information for their blog, for all their social media networks, and which now just makes me cringe. Like if you handed all your stuff to an intern, I would just cry for you. But I'm very, very grateful that it happened that way because now I get to sit here and chat with you. But they had a blog, and because I had no idea anything about blogging, I had really just even used social media personally, we didn't use it. So I didn't understand that, how guest blogging could have, helped with that, how I could have incorporated the employees and, all these different things that I could do with it just because I didn't have any knowledge and I couldn't find any. This was 5-6 years ago, and I couldn't find anybody who could really help me at that time because I was, I was a young kid. So for now, for what I've learned in those 5 years from, that first experience with looking at a blog, which we didn't even use after I came on, I was like, I don't know how to do this. Let's just not. So, and I wish I hadn't done that. So I wish they'd been blogging these last 5 years. I still work with that client today, and we got them now blogging again and finally got them on board with it last year. So, and now it's one of the biggest drivers of traffic to their site. So my advice is if you want to be guest blogging, and you don't have your own blog, start right now. Just, I don't care, just stop the call and go start writing and get a blog going and start figuring out, who you are, what's your voice, and what do you know. Write as much as possible. And even if it's not content that's going to be able to be used on your own blog, have kind of these, essentially almost a writing prompt, that this is something I could write about, and then maybe take that and go find somebody who would benefit from that. So this may not work for me, but it's something I could use for someone else, which would be fantastic.
Right.
Don't be
okay, well, that's yeah. Very good. And that you saying that kind of just makes me think of two things. When you're writing for your own blog, or obviously as this conversation is taking us down the path of doing guest blog posts, you want to, because I think when you say, stop what you're doing right now, go and write or start blogging, to some people they could be intimidated by that because they just may honestly say, I don't think I'm the best writer. But like, one of my biggest tips and recommendations when you're talking about doing guest blog posts is that you're trying to write about something that's going to like answer like a pain point or be helpful to the people that are reading it, and then write in a style as if you are writing to everyday people that want to be able to read it without having to go and get a dictionary to look up half the words that you're using. So don't think that you have to like be pretentious. Just speak straight to the point, just conversational. Would you agree, Stephanie?
I would absolutely agree. So don't get confused blogging with writing a report like we used to do in school. So this is supposed to be fun, okay? So when I write, my tone is very conversational. So I write it like I'm talking to you. So it's easy to read and it's easy to understand. I've broken it up and we use, headlines and subheaders and bullet points and lists, make it really easy to consume the content. When you are, if you're scared of that, I don't know what I would say, you can start with something as simple. What are the questions that you get asked all the time? Whether you're in social media and trying to be a blogger here, or if you are a local small business owner, what are those questions you get asked all the time? That's a blog post. What's the answer that you give when you answer that question all the time because you know it? Just write down or record yourself. If you're not, a big writer, record yourself and have somebody transcribe it for you then, okay? This is, you have all that knowledge. So when you write your blog, you're using what you already know. It's not that you need to go out and possess some new skill. You are just writing what's already in your head. Yes, you're going to do a little bit of research here and there, include some statistics or, some quotes from other people. But really, when you're starting, you're writing what you already know. And that's why someone's going to read what you write. That's why someone's going to want to pick you up as a guest blogger. It's because of what you know and that what they don't have. And that could be knowledge, but it also could be just the way you speak, the way you write and your voice, your tone. And you may really speak to them.
Very cool. And we're getting some great questions in for people using the hashtag Steph Nissen. So please continue to do that. We're excited to make sure that we're not only just bringing you great information, but really able to specifically answer the questions that you have. So here's another question for you, Steph. Do you commit or look for monthly guest blogging opportunities, or is it more so like a one-shot type of deal?
Typically, I look for ones that are a monthly so that I can really get to know an audience and I can maintain a constant presence there. I don't want it to just be a one-off. If I'm regularly contributing to a blog, then I'm going to be seen by their audience again and again and again, and I have a much better chance of really making a connection with them. So I prefer ones that are, a monthly contribution. I do that with She Owns It, which is the Women's Entrepreneur Network, and I contribute there monthly. AgoraPulse, I write monthly at least, if not more, and so most of my opportunities are like that. I have done a couple of one-offs, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Or if you want to try to do it even as a trade with someone and here, I'll write a post for your blog, you write one for mine, and we'll swap. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with either one of those. It's just my preference is in monthly contributing monthly blog posts.
Okay, very cool. Now, just to clarify too, when we're talking about doing guest blog posts, and you haven't said, and I know the answer, but I feel that it's great to kind of put this out there. For the most part, are guest blog post opportunities and monetary value for you? Is that your motivation, or is there money involved, or is there no money involved?
I have some spots where, yes, there is money involved and I do get paid for my spot. I have some posts that it's a barter. So I write for them and they give me their services in exchange. And then I have some where we don't. I just write for them. And it's more because they have a great big network. They're reaching the people I need to reach, and it benefits me in that regard.
Okay.
So you have to look at, what are you trying to get out of it? And for me, my primary drive for guest blogging is to build my credibility, build my expertise, build my brand and make a name for myself in the industry. So getting in front of multiple audiences, that's my goal. For me, guest blogging is not ever about the money. Being paid for those spots is absolutely great because, yes, this is my business. But for me, if you have a great network that those are the people I need to reach, then I'm more than happy to write for you.
Okay, very cool. All right, let's see here. I think we have one more question that I want to go ahead and dive in and ask you. Oh, actually, it's not a question. Our friend Anna Langa, and she's all the way over in the UK. She's super cool, and she says, and she's quoting you, repurpose your own blog content for other platforms. So thanks so much for that on Twitter, Miss Anna. Now, Steph, I want to ask you, we've kind of gone through just kind of some general overviews as to why a business may want to pursue guest blogging opportunities, how to actually do that. And is there anything else that you think that people should know or do to actually be able to get and land some guest blog posts, or what not to do?
Sure. So the thing you really need to know is to land that guest blog post is that you have to be proactive. People are not going to come to you and ask, they want you to come to them. So you don't be afraid, if they don't, say publicly, yes, we're looking for guest bloggers or contributors. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask, because the worst they're going to say is no, or not right now. Okay, that's absolutely okay, and it doesn't hurt anything. And it's as easy as sending a tweet to that business, that brand, like, hey, are you guys looking for any guest bloggers? I'd love to write for you. There's nothing wrong with that. So you have to be proactive. Like I said, these don't come to you unless you are fantastic and you are well sought after. But the idea of guest blogging for most of us down here is that we're trying to build our way up. So people may not know that you're there. So you have to let them know. I mean, that's exactly how I started doing it. And now I have, been blogging for a little while, which is nice. But of course I say a little while, but that's really less than a year. But enough that I love what I'm doing. And I love the blogging aspect of social media marketing, that it's done well for me and really helped me gain some traction in my business.
Okay, very cool. And real quick on, like earlier when you were talking about reaching out, doing some searches on Twitter to actually find opportunities, and that's actually worked really well for you. I was recently listening to a podcast with Pat Flynn, and he was kind of doing like a similar question, answering someone who was interested in maybe not even necessarily like blog posting, but they kind of wanted to pitch him, and he was just kind of giving some feedback. And so when you're talking about doing a Twitter search and you're typing in, let's say, guest blog post opportunities or something really targeted and specific, would you say if you were going to reach out maybe to a brand that's not necessarily tweeting about that topic, would you have your first ask to someone be as direct as, hey, I would absolutely love the opportunity to do some guest blog posting for you? Or would you warm them up a little bit and maybe tweet with them, a couple days, and then maybe go there?
Yeah, great question. Great question. So when we're using Twitter search to look for people who are talking about needing a guest blogger, then that's absolutely okay to tweet back and be like, I'd love to write for you. Or just look at the tweet. If they sent out, we need guest bloggers, or, here's the link to apply. Okay, send them, a tweet that says, I'm going to apply right now. And then, go and fill out their form, click through and find out what the guidelines are, of course. So that's that research part of it. So if they're already saying, yes, we want some, then absolutely it's okay to dive right in and start the conversation like that. If it's someone that you want to write for, and they have a great audience, you've done your homework, this is the spot I really want to be on that's really going to help me, create some quality backlinks or, help build my expertise and credibility, then that is something that we're going to need to kind of woo them a little bit more. So we're going to add them to a list of, our prospects if we're on Twitter, and, go connect with them on their other social networks and, really start to engage with them. If it's a big brand, it's going to take more than, even just a couple of days to be able to kind of dive in and go, hey, I'd love to write for you. So I would go in and, like I said, do your homework, go connect with them, engage with them on other platforms, comment on their blog posts now, go back through and see have they ever accepted guest blog posts from anyone, even if they're not accepting them, they don't have a form for you to fill out, and they don't have a page on their website that says, here are the rules of guest blogging. Go back through and see if you can find if they ever have. If you can't find a single guest blog post from anyone, it's worth, maybe sending them an email later and going, hey, do you guys look for guest blog posts, without asking if you can, but asking for more information about it if it's available, if it's someone you really, really want to write at. But if they've never accepted one, I would kind of just let that one go and move on to the next one. Don't waste your time. If they've never done it before, you're going to be really hard pressed to be their first one ever.
Okay, very cool. And like Ina said, whether someone is participating in this hangout and they're just almost at the point where they've got their own blog, they're now just kind of excited about that opportunity to take that next step, or someone who may not even, they've never blogged before, but they just kind of wanted to learn a little bit more about the ins and the outs and some of the do's and the don'ts. Hopefully this hangout has been really helpful, and it seems that we've got some diverse levels of people on the call, whether it's be that they're already blogging now or they're just kind of interested in just kind of pursuing that as an opportunity. So that is great. Steph, I want to make sure that before we end this, I will double check to see if anyone else has any other questions. So I will keep on checking Twitter, but we've had some really great engagement and some retweets going on there. Just want to give a shout out to Dr. Finch, who is watching us and enjoying it, and we're so glad to have her with us. But tell people, Steph, how they can stay connected with you, and just to kind of, if they wanted to reach out and ask you a question, or where, obviously, being that we're all social, where people can find you.
Well, since we are all social, of course, you can find me on pretty much any major social network, though my favorite and my most active platform is definitely Twitter. So you can find me at twitter.com/Steph Nissen, STEPNISSEN_. So here's somebody's phone going off.
Yeah, that would be my phone. Nobody calls me. Nobody. And my phone's ringing twice during this, so sorry about that.
That's all right. It's hot lead. So yeah, so Twitter is my most active platform, so definitely connect with me there at @StephNissen_. I'm also on Instagram at the same name, or of course you can find me on Facebook. My company name is Nissen Media, so I'm at facebook.com/Nissen Media anytime. I love Twitter, so definitely tweet me there. That's the best way to reach me. What about you, Heather? How do we get in touch with you?
Well, we've launched our website. Just simply is sweetteasocialmarketing.com. You can find me there with all of our links to all of our social platforms. I definitely love Facebook, and I love Twitter and LinkedIn. Those are my top 3 favorites. that I actually am on multiple times every single day. Right there on the screen where my last name, like I said, is kind of crazy to spell, but I use @HeatherHyman on Twitter as well as on Instagram. But everywhere else on social media, if you just look for Sweet Tea Social Marketing, you will find me, and I would love to connect with anybody. So, yeah, reach out. Let us know that you were on this call, and, you know, take advantage of those opportunities, even with the people that you are interested in maybe doing guest blog postings, and reach out to them. Like, retweet some of their content. Like, provide a little bit of value, like Steph was saying, you know, and then kind of like do your reach out, so to say.
Absolutely.
All right.
You nailed it. So, yeah, and if you are watching this on YouTube later on the recording, so definitely send us a tweet to Heather or myself or both of us and let us know that you watched it, and, you know, if you got some great information out of it, or if you have any other questions, you can absolutely tweet one of us and we will get you an answer.
Okay, well, real quick here, before we end this hangout, we just want to thank everyone who joined us. We are very excited that we have got an amazing guest speaker, guest that's going to come join us on an upcoming hangout this summer. I'm not going to say her name yet, but let's just say she's amazing. She's making well more than a six-figure salary. She knows her stuff, and she is going to talk to us all about Twitter and just really just show you that you can use that amazing social platform to grow your business. So that's something to look forward to later on this summer. Steph, do you have any type of an offer or anything you want to share with anybody today that's on the Hangout?
I didn't have one really, but I am happy to take a look at somebody's blog. If you want me to take a look at something that you've written and give you some feedback on it, I'd be happy to do that for absolutely nothing. Just shoot me one that maybe you've written recently. If it needs a little love in the comments, shoot me the link, and I will definitely take a look.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't mean to throw you off guard on that. And you know, something else I wanted to make sure I mentioned regarding kind of getting on your newsletter list. How does somebody go about doing that and just staying connected with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to join my newsletter, you can do so by going to nissenmedia.net. So NISSENMEDIA.net. Right down in the footer, there is a sign up. All you have to do is put in your name and put in your email address, and I'll get you added to my list. I'm actually in the process of completely revamping my entire email marketing, and I have a brand new website coming very, very soon. It was supposed to be done already. I keep saying it's going to come very, very soon, but it finally is so close to being done. And when that's up, then you'll be getting, you know, some more information from me. So if you want to be one of the first to know when the new site is up, then you definitely need to go over to nissenmedia.net and go add yourself to that newsletter.
Right now. Do it right now. You'll be glad you did. Yeah, and same goes for me. If you are interested in just staying connected to find out when maybe something is up and coming with Sweet Tea or just new information on social media, I would love for you to connect with me. It's really simple. You just go to Sweet Tea Social Marketing, and right in the middle of the screen, you'll see a button that says Connect with Us. And as soon as you click on that, you'll see an opportunity. You actually get a free ebook, and it's called 4 Must-Dos on Social Media for Small Businesses. So if you would like that, you can't miss it. Just go head on over to my website and check that out. But everyone, we are so glad that you joined us today. Stay tuned as we do get together and do these hangouts every single month. Steph Nissen, Heather Hyman signing out, but so glad that everyone came and just participated and was here with us on the call. And what we would love to do is, whether it's 2 months from now or 6 months from now, if anything that you learned today really helped you, we would love for you just to give us some feedback and just, you know, maybe give us a testimonial on how some of the stuff that you learned today on doing guest blog posts helped you in your business. So that's all I've got, Stephanie.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Heather. I love that we get to do these every month, and I can't wait for the next one. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next month. Bye.
See ya.